Let's start. In this lecture, I'm going to discuss telemedicine and green or sustainable healthcare. Recognizing the critical importance of cross-disciplinary studies, the University of Tokyo, U-Tokyo, has established a variety of medium-term research coalitions. For example, the Research Institute of Biomedical Science and Engineering has been pursuing interdisciplinary research between medicine and engineering. The Research Institute also collaborates with researchers from numerous divisions of the School of Science, School of Pharmaceutical Sciences, and others. Developments in biomedical engineering greatly contribute to patients' quality of life. In nephrology, which is my specialty, hemodialysis has been a game changer. It helps patients with renal failure survive and maintain an active social life. This video will walk you through what hemodialysis is. Thus, hemodialysis removes waste products from the blood and returns the purified blood to the body. This technology is indispensable for patients with renal failure to stay alive and live in their communities. Hemodialysis was first introduced by Dr. Willem Kolff, who is known as the father of artificial organs. When the International Society of Nephrology celebrated its 60th anniversary in 2020, they highlighted 60 historical discoveries that have significantly impacted nephrology. Hemodialysis was among these breakthrough discoveries. Dr. Kolff also invented the first artificial heart. He received the 2002 Lasker Award for Clinical Medical Research, and Life magazine included him among the 100 most important persons of the 20th century. In relation to green healthcare, another recent groundbreaking technology is noteworthy: the organ on a chip. This technology refers to a microfluidic culture system in which organ-specific cells are grown on a chip. It is designed to emulate an organ by incorporating different cell types that represent the organ's specific functions and physiology. In the USA, a newly enacted law reforming the Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has allowed clinical trial sponsors to replace preclinical animal testing with non-clinical tests such as organ chip systems if the results are convincing. We have been conducting joint projects on organ chips. In collaboration with Dr. Teruo Fuji, the president of U-Tokyo, we developed renal tube on a chip, glomerulus on a chip, and kidney on a chip devices. Our ultimate goal is to create a human-on-a-chip model. A human-on-a-chip model will be developed by fluidically interconnecting an array of organ chip modules. Although theoretically feasible, this model faces many challenges before it can be successfully deployed. Each cell culture system has its own optimal medium specifications. To develop a human-on-a-chip device, we need a blood-like universal medium that perfuses and interconnects individual organ modules, which is a very demanding task. Recently, artificial intelligence, AI, has been increasingly used to support clinical decision-making. For instance, the electronic chart system installed at the U Tokyo Hospital enables practitioners to review patients' radiographic images. When the practitioner presses a particular button, the AI is activated and indicates possible pathological abnormalities. This feature prevents practitioners from overlooking possible health disorders. Because the AI has extremely strong image analysis capabilities, it provides valuable assistance in radiographic and other diagnostics. This slide is from a recent Nature article on AI-powered diagnostics, in which the authors developed a novel pathology foundation model for a broad range of digital pathology applications. Notably, the authors include research engineers from Microsoft Corporation. Information technology companies are actively engaged in AI applications in medicine. Several months ago, the 2024 annual meeting of the American Society of Nephrology, ASN, was held in San Diego. Along with the International Society of Nephrology, the ASN is one of the largest medical associations in nephrology. The annual ASN meeting attracts more than 20,000 attendees. This year, 3 plenary sessions were held. At the opening plenary session, Dr. David Rowe from Microsoft discussed accelerating innovation in nephrology with AI. Unlike many academic speakers, Dr. Rowe talked in a casual and friendly manner. Yet his presentation was very informative and inspiring. Next, I'm going to change the topic and talk about green transformation, and then lastly about telemedicine. Green transformation is gaining global importance. A Nature article published in July 2024 reported that last summer was the warmest over the past 2,000 years because of global warming. Climate warming decreases the amount of oxygen dissolved in sea and river water. The loss of oxygen causes great damage to marine and freshwater organisms. At the end of the Permian period, life on Earth faced the Great Dying, or unparalleled mass extinction. Researchers have speculated that this end Permian event was caused by superanoxia, or severe oxygen depletion in the aquatic environment. Marine deoxygenation can cause serious problems. Scientists are working hard to understand the mechanisms and drivers of ocean anoxia. The late Permian period sounds ancient, but oceanic anoxia is not a matter of the distant past. This picture shows the decrease in oxygen dissolved in seawater over the past 50 years. You can see that global warming is not someone else's problem. Global warming is causing a huge impact on the marine ecosystem. Scientific journals are full of articles sounding the alarm about it. Medicine is not very environmentally friendly. Modern medicine consumes large amounts of electricity and water. In addition, it generates large amounts of waste products. For example, when a patient undergoes one hemodialysis session, 180 liters of purified water is used. It also consumes a lot of electricity and produces a variety of medical wastes. One way to reduce medical waste is to stop using disposable kits and disinfect and reuse the same syringes and needles. However, physicians will not accept this idea because it will increase the risks of disease transmission. Green medicine contributes to eco-friendly and sustainable healthcare. This slide shows the results of a study that estimated the amount of greenhouse gas emissions associated with hemodialysis. They reported that emissions per session are equivalent to driving an average car for 240 kilometers. In addition, the annual emissions per hemodialysis facility are equivalent to emissions from 93 households. These estimates suggest the large environmental impact of healthcare practice. In Europe and North America, green medicine and sustainable healthcare have long been attracting widespread research attention. The University of Oxford established the Center for Sustainable Healthcare more than a decade ago to advance environmentally friendly medical practice. The authors of a recent perspective article in the New England Journal of Medicine argue that carbon footprint analyses should be included as an endpoint in clinical trials to build low-carbon healthcare systems. Clinical study endpoints typically relate to the life and conditions of the study participants. These authors propose including the carbon footprint of the intervention under investigation as part of the study. Now, we move to the topic of digital transformation. Digital transformation may curb global warming. Digital transformation is advancing in many areas of medicine. Digital transformation can promote telemedicine and make medical practice more eco-friendly, thereby counteracting global warming. Telemedicine has grown across the world since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. During the pandemic, telemedicine gained widespread recognition because in-person visits to clinics crowded with infected patients increased the risks of infection and transmission. The U.S. government drastically reformed the legal healthcare system to expand telemedicine. For example, the physician licensing processes in America are state-based. Because virtual visits can cross state lines, the federal and state governments amended the regulations to allow for flexibility in cross-state care. Many more actions were taken to encourage access to distant healthcare providers. Telemedicine can be a viable option during disasters. Researchers argue that telemedicine may be effective for helping victims struck by earthquakes, tsunamis, floods, and other natural disasters, as well as human-caused disasters such as war. Other researchers insist that, unlike natural disasters, wartime may not provide much room for telemedical care because of the unavailability of internet connections and the occurrence of cyber attacks and other technical issues. The authors of a 2024 Lancet article investigated the effectiveness of telemedical trauma care in the Gaza Strip during the 2023 to 2024 Israeli assault. The authors reported that, despite the potential of telemedical care in the austere environment, its usefulness was greatly reduced by the scarcity of resources, inadequate staffing, and poor internet connectivity.
このランセットの論文の結論であります。
Telemedicine plays an important role in our aging society. Elderly patients often have difficulties presenting to ambulatory care. Telemedicine enables practitioners to attend to such people in their home setting. Populations are aging in many countries, with Japan being the fastest. The World Health Organization, WHO, projects that 80% of elderly persons will be living in low and middle-income countries in 2050, and the global population is aging at an unprecedented rate. In our aging society, it is critical to ensure that elderly patients have access to healthcare. To this end, telemedicine can be a useful tool. Telemedicine refers to medical services provided to persons in a setting distant from the healthcare professionals providing the service. We have a similar term, telehealth. Telehealth is the delivery of health management and disease prevention services via remote technologies. Thus, telehealth is a broader concept that encompasses telemedicine. This slide shows a very interesting clinical study published recently. Conventional clinical studies start when patients visit the study center. After they are fully informed of the study and sign the consent form, interventions are provided. Study participants visit the center for follow-up. During these visits, the variables of interest are measured, and the effects and safety of the intervention are examined. This study is termed the Apple Heart Study and was designed to completely forego on-site visits by the study participants. Prospective participants use their own smartphones to learn about the study on the web and to provide electronically signed, informed consent. Their smartwatches then intermittently and passively measured changes in blood flow and transmitted the data to the central data platform for analysis. Typical clinical studies enroll patients attending medical care who are mostly middle and older aged. By contrast, the Apple Heart Study included a large proportion of tech-savvy younger adults because it recruited owners of smartphones and smartwatches. The majority of the participants were in their 20s or 30s. The second largest age group was 40 to 54 years old. This study demonstrated that smartwatches could be used to identify individuals at risk of atrial fibrillation at a reliable rate, providing a foundation for further research using wearable devices for diagnostic purposes. The clinical use of smart device applications has been increasing in various fields. This slide shows the Dialbetics and Dialbetics Plus applications developed by Dr. Kaio Waki at the Department of Healthcare Information Management, U Tokyo Hospital. These smartphone applications transmit by Bluetooth the results of home measurements including body weight, blood pressure, and blood glucose levels to a central server. The patient data stored at the central platform will be evaluated according to the Japan Diabetes Society guidelines. On the basis of the evaluation results, individual patients will receive feedback emails providing lifestyle instructions. Data that meet the abnormal criteria will be reported to the attending doctor, who will contact the patient directly without delay. These applications thus contribute to blood glucose management and diabetes care. Prospective clinical studies using these applications have been conducted, and the results showed that they were useful in improving diabetes care. Dr. Waki has also developed the StepAd application. This smartphone software aims to increase physical activity on the basis of social cognitive theory. Interventions to increase step counts are made to help prevent or improve lifestyle diseases. Increasing efforts are being made to develop and use new smart device applications for healthcare applications. Fortune magazine is a leading business journal. Every year it publishes a list of the most powerful women international. GlaxoSmithKline CEO Emma Walmsley was at the top of the 2020 list. A Spanish banker ranked third, and a woman of Asian origin ranked second, Jessica Tan. She served as CEO of China's Ping An Group until recently. This conglomerate group runs insurance, telehealth, and many other businesses. Born and raised in Singapore, Tan is a graduate of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, with advanced degrees in engineering and computer science. After working at McKinsey & Company, she was appointed one of the co-CEOs of the Ping An Group. A recent news article indicates she was named president of Canada's top-ranked insurance company, Sun Life, this year. In an interview, she said she would bring extensive global experience in insurance and digital innovation to Sun Life Canada. She is widely recognized for her leadership and contributions in digital transformation and healthcare. One of her achievements at the Ping An Group was the success of the 1-minute clinic. In China, you may come across something like a telephone booth, like that shown in the picture. This 1-minute clinic station provides 24/7 access to healthcare in remote settings. When you enter the booth, AI-based diagnostics are performed to determine the most appropriate specialist for you. Then, relevant specialists provide online consultations and send prescriptions if appropriate. You can purchase pharmaceuticals from the medicine cabinet located next to the booth. Ping An's online healthcare services are growing rapidly in China. This system processed 114 million consultations in 12 months between 2019 and 2020. During the COVID-19 outbreak, the daily number of virtual visits increased because healthcare was inaccessible to the majority of patients. The daily number of visits still increased after the outbreak because people recognized the usefulness of the 1-minute clinic. Common users include patients seeking general internal medicine and dermatology services. Given that visual inspection is a cornerstone of the diagnosis of skin lesions, dermatology services can be provided based on transmitted photographic or live clinical images. In addition, people seeking obstetrics and gynecology or pediatric care frequently visit the 1-minute clinic. Female workers, especially those who are rearing a child, cannot often spare time to see an obstetrician/gynecologist in person or take their children to a pediatrician. Therefore, working mothers greatly benefit from this telemedicine system. This is also the case in other countries. In India, for example, maternal and child health conditions compose a large proportion of telemedicine consultations in primary care settings. In Japan, a large number of patients with COVID-19 died at their homes during the pandemic. In Israel, the effective use of telemedicine significantly reduced the number of at-home deaths. A physician from the medical center delivers a home hospitalization kit to the patient's house. The doctor calls and informs the patient of the delivery, and the patient brings in and opens the box. The box contains a tablet PC, which immediately enables communications with the center's medical unit. The box also contains other equipment, such as a pulse oximeter to monitor blood oxygen levels and a remote stethoscope for auscultation. These devices are used to detect patients who are rapidly deteriorating at home. Those patients will be transferred to medical care without delay. These measures helped Israel claim 0 home deaths from COVID-19. In Japan, telemedicine has a long way to go for a variety of reasons. One reason is related to healthcare fees. Many countries increase the economic returns for telemedicine services to motivate physicians. In Japan, however, the fees for virtual services are lower than the fees for in-person services. Another reason is related to the patients seeking telemedicine services. The Japanese health authorities initially considered that elderly patients in remote rural areas would most benefit from telemedicine. This may be theoretically correct, but evidence shows otherwise. This study investigated the demographic characteristics of the patients who received telemedicine health services. The results show that younger people residing in more socially advantaged areas use telemedicine services more often. These data suggest that telemedicine is more widely accepted among people who are familiar with IT, earn a good income, and are not willing to spend time to see a doctor in person. Although the rural elderly are a major target of telemedicine, it is also important to increase telemedicine use among other groups of people who are receptive to telemedicine. Japanese health authorities have requested the Japanese Medical Science Federation to make proposals to advance telemedicine. In response, the Japanese Medical Science Federation has published several recommendations regarding telemedicine. In a typical telemedicine setting, a physician in an office sees a patient at a distance, D to P. Telemedicine settings also include situations where a doctor provides support to another doctor, D to D, as well as situations where a doctor takes care of a patient with the help of another doctor or a nurse, D to P with D, or D to P with N. In these situations, physicians or nurses receive instructions and guidance from a distant specialist and take care of a medical condition outside their expertise. Mayo Clinic is a leader in emergency telemedicine, and this video showcases how Mayo Clinic assists practitioners in a remote setting through video consultation. A man with injuries from a winter sports accident is brought to a rural, resource-limited hospital. The physician is not well experienced in trauma care, so he or she contacts Mayo Clinic and asks for guidance for medical and surgical emergencies, including examination, fixation, and transfer. This case may be classified as D to P with D. Telemedicine offers various advantages. The use of telemedicine can be cost-effective and even eco-friendly because it reduces clinic visits, travel time, and unscheduled care.
他にも様々なメリットがあり、移動困難な患者さんに対しても診療を行為をすることができます。
There are a number of barriers to telemedicine, including limited availability of patient clinical data. Information other than audiovisual data is not readily available in a home setting.
情報によって診断することになります。
If a patient visits a well-equipped clinic, a 15 to 20 milliliter volume of blood will be drawn to collect liver and kidney function data immediately. Technological innovations help overcome these data gap issues.
技術革新によって様々な解決法が生まれています。
In a face-to-face consultation, the physician checks eye conjunctiva to detect anemia.
診断するわけですが、
A deep learning-based system has been developed to quickly and accurately predict anemia from images of the conjunctiva.
正確に貧血の程度を定量的に診断できることが可能になってきています。
This slide illustrates a wearable thoracic impedance sensor that tracks fluid changes and thereby identifies the risk of congestive heart failure.
悪化を予想することができるという研究になります。
The next slide shows the work of the Department of Neurology, Juntendo University, in which a physician sees a patient with neurological movement disorders in an augmented/mixed reality environment. This virtual environment has been achieved using a three-dimensional, 3D, holographic head-mounted display and a motion capture device. This project was conducted in collaboration with Microsoft. The 3D holographic technique will be useful for remote diagnosis and treatment of patients with movement disorders that make attending ambulatory care difficult. Next, we see a smart toilet developed by researchers at Stanford University. Users of this device will be identified on the basis of their finger and anal prints. Their urine and stool samples will be examined automatically, and the results will be transmitted to the central platform for further analysis. Users will be notified if any abnormalities are detected. Moreover, special eyeglasses have been developed to monitor kidney functions. Serum creatinine is a reliable indicator of renal functions. This device estimates serum creatinine levels on the basis of the creatinine levels in automatically collected tear samples. To monitor physiological variables in a home setting, small amounts of biological samples should be collected and analyzed in a non-invasive manner. Tears are one of the materials suitable for biological monitoring. Dr. Takao Someya, the former dean of the School of Engineering, U Tokyo, is a front-runner in wearable device technology. He has expertise in developing flexible, film-like sensors. These devices can be used to monitor various biological variables in the home setting. Measurement results will be sent to a hospital data server and analyzed for diagnostic and treatment purposes. This monitoring platform will open a new horizon for healthcare because such monitoring data will provide far more detailed clinical information than the data collected during ambulatory visits once every 3 months.
状態を観察し、それに基づいて診療することができる。全く違った診療行為の世界が開けるようになってきます。
We are currently engaged in the national initiative named the Moonshot Research and Development Program. Our activities aim to develop innovative telemedicine platforms. One of our activities involves the work of Professor Tabata, School of Engineering, U Tokyo. He has developed an artificial olfactory sensor technology that is 1,000 times more sensitive than a dog's nose. This ultra-sensitive technology enables the detection of changes in the smell of the body before and after patients with renal failure undergo hemodialysis. We've gained knowledge about such changes at the molecular level. These advancements have enabled us to detect body odor changes associated with uremia. This slide shows the work of Dr. Noji, who developed the digital enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay, ELISA, technology. Their work enables the detection of the components of a very small amount of blood using a palm-sized device. The next slide shows an attempt to treat sarcopenia, a condition characterized by the loss of skeletal muscle mass and strength. Physical, electrical, and magnetic stimuli are delivered to activate the nerve and muscle responses in elderly people who are too frail to exercise. These activities are ongoing as part of our moonshot projects. One of the major challenges for the current healthcare system in Japan is that the data accumulated in clinical settings do not include the data available in the home. Professor Ohei of the Department of Healthcare Information Management, U-Tokyo Hospital, proposes applying HL7 Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, FHIR, as the standard for healthcare data exchange to establish a seamless data flow between the clinical and home settings. If huge amounts of smart home data flow into hospital databases, data overload will occur because the incoming data volume will surpass the human ability to process it. To address such issues, we will use AI to mine and analyze available data and obtain useful clinical insights and suggestions. According to Professor Ohei, augmented and virtual reality technologies can effectively analyze and process large volumes of data and will be of great help when practitioners review individual clinical data on screen. U-Tokyo has established the Health Sustainability and AI Medical Research Center, which focuses on the early detection and prevention of health risks using digital twins developed on the basis of mathematical and medical models. The digital twin technology can enable us to construct a digital version of a human being, predict the onset of diseases, simulate therapeutic effects, and optimize treatment strategies for individual patients. This technology conforms to the government-proposed Society 5.0 initiative, which aims to integrate cyber and physical spaces. Using a digital twin model of the human body, a group of researchers predicted the biomechanics of the lumbar spine during human movement, presenting a useful approach to real-time planning in spine rehabilitation. The next study uses a digital twin model that incorporates metabolic fluxes and identifies and predicts the risk of chronic kidney disease in patients with diabetes. Our ultimate goal is to develop, for each individual, a medical digital twin that helps maintain their health and optimize their treatment strategies. We pursue optimal medical care for individual patients using these digital transformation technologies. This is the last slide. Telemedicine will not replace, but supplement in-person care. The combination of these two modalities will offer great benefits to patients because telemedicine can improve the quality of in-person visits and vice versa. Telemedicine requires the collaboration between experts in the medical, biological, physical, pharmaceutical, engineering, and other sciences. I'm going to lead further interdisciplinary projects and contribute to innovative telemedicine. This ends my lecture. Thank you for your attention.